Okay, I'd like to call to order the meeting of Tuesday, October 15th, the Greater Syracuse Rapid Development Corporation. Roll call, I see all our members. I'd like to welcome Mr. Brown here as our newest member. Proof of notice, unposted. Minutes, September 17th, everybody had a chance to look over the minutes. Any comments? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to accept the minutes of September 17th meeting. And second. Second, Michael, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Executive summary and financial statements.
The executive summary, the financial statements will be in August. Are there any questions on those? The rest of the executive summary is new business.
Any questions? There's none, I'll ask for a motion. Michael, second motion, and all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, authorized sale of multiple properties.
The misnomer this month, it's just one property. On page 24 of your packet. This is a non-buildable vacant lot. The owner occupies next door would like to expand their yard.
Questions? Okay. I'll ask for a motion to authorize sale of multiple properties.
So moved.
Anthony, second, Michael, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Contract for multiple demolitions.
The good news is that last week we were informed we did receive the $2 million grant that we applied for, so we'll have additional LBI money. What we have now should be spent down by December 1st. We're wrapping up the last projects with our current round. We will need to sign a contract with HDR for this award, and I'm assuming they're gonna make us go through a new programmatic environmental review, but we've started on that anyway, just so that we're ready to go. So we would like to have you guys vote to award these to the lowest bidders, except for 4710 South Salina Street, which I'll talk about in just a second. But we can't actually give contractors the notice to proceed until we get all those hurdles dealt with HDR, and we have an approved environmental review for each of these. But I'm hoping that will happen before your next meeting. 4710 South Salina Street, we're actually recommending that we award that one to Elite. They are a company that we have not used before. They're based in Oswego County. They do have their asbestos handling license. And that was one that was pretty close in price, so it'd be about $3,000 more to go with them. But we think it's worth it to get another contractor into the mix. Hopefully, more than just two contractors getting all of our demolition jobs. So generally speaking, we want to award them all to the lowest bidder except for 4710 South Salina Street, that we would like to award to Elite. You'll notice these are almost all commercial demos. We weren't able to do any commercials the last round of LBI, so somebody who's been sitting around for a while. They are going to drive up our average price per demo in this round. These are averaging about 50,000 each. The rest of them, most wood frame small houses, are running about 30,000 each. So we figure there's going to be room left in the budget to do about 26 more normal sized houses after these. And we actually just put 23 out to bid yesterday. I believe the county also wants to provide us with some demolition funding that Pat and I are going to follow up on. And we certainly have more than just those 23 in our inventory. I sat down with Dave and Daniel and went through, after we deal with everything that's already contracted under our current LBI and these commercial properties, we have left maybe 50 demolition candidates in our inventory. And we went through and identified those that are the biggest safety hazards, and some that have just been lingering for so long that the neighbors, I'm sure, are aggravated. One we've owned for 10 years. So we just want to kind of clean up those older ones before the city's going to start giving us a flood of new demolition candidates, I'm sure, over the next few months. So we want to get that older stuff out of the way, alleviate some of that aggravation from the neighbors. And I'm confident that there is more demo money coming, whether it's from the county or another round of LBI. As soon as we get to having this 75% spent, they will invite us to come back and apply for more. There's basically an unlimited pot of LBI that we can help ourselves do because the other things are going pretty slow.
Any questions?
Have we ever awarded anything to bronze?
Yes, occasionally they are the lowest bidder.
Because I feel like every time we see this, they're always way out.
Yeah. They come all the way from Remsen, New York, so I'm not sure if it's up on the way to Old Forge. I'm not sure if that is part of it, or,
Yeah, they don't have, like Scanlon and Chris Foley are local, they have their own trucks. These guys gotta come all the way from Remsen, they're multiple people, it's just, I don't even know why they bid on the jobs, I can't see them making any money.
That's what I was.
but every now and then they do one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
Three versus
okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll ask for a motion for the contract for multiple demolitions. So, motion on a second. Second, Jonathan, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, revised 2024 budget.
So in October of each year, we are required to submit our budget for the next 4 fiscal years to the New York Authority's budget office. And before we start that budgeting process, we find it helpful to do kind of a reset of where are we at and where do we think we're gonna be at year end, just so that we're starting with a good baseline of what our fund balance is projected to be. This also helps us in March when we do our audit, so there aren't such huge budget to actual variances. So the amendment starts on page 25 of your packet. Continues on to page 28. It's about $130,000 net change to the positive. We're actually better off than. Yes, we're better off than the other entity by about $130,000. We've made notes here on the reason for some of these changes.
A lot of it's the timing of the funding, is when it was spent. You'll see the LBI phase 2 reflects our increase in our current contract, which is why those will be an increase of about $600,000. The other major things, correspondingly, on the second page, demolition and stabilization both increased, so that directly relates to the LBI funding as well. Those are really the major changes. We're actually fairly close this year. Just good.
Any questions? I don't do I have to motion that or not?
We do need a motion to amend the budget.
Jonathan, second. Motion on all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Approve 2025, 2028 budget.
So this starts on page 29 of the packet. Do you want to walk us through this?
Yeah, so on the left is the one you just approved, 2024 amended budget. The second column is the 2025 proposed, and then from there, you get to the projected budgets for the coming years. The green lines are just money from the city and county we had assumed we will be having. Are they green numbers?
Yes.
Okay. But we don't budget for that until it's actually approved. We actually can add in, we might need to make a motion for this, the $250,000 for County 25. That was approved. As you go further down, we get into LBI, our second award, so that's the $2 million that Caitlin was just talking about, broken out into building stabilization and demolition, brownfield funds. Everything under Gustav Stickley House, unfortunately, has just been pushed back into 2025, 2026.
Waiting for Gustav to come back? Or what?
Yes, he was very deliberate, in his actions. We are very hopeful to get into going to an RFP, have an RFP for that project soon. So we really do anticipate spending some money in 2025 and then the remainder of it in 2026. Moving down, we've increased our sale of property from 1 million to 1.5 million. The idea that we'll be getting more properties from the city, hopefully some nice marketable ones. Pretty similar as you go down through cost of goods sold. Again, the demolition and stabilization will reflect funding mainly from LBI phase, our second award from LBI phase 2. Pretty standard as you go down the line, the office expenses. And as you get to the very bottom, the county funding of $250,000 will bring us from that deficit of $465,000 to about $259,000. And then it shows you, again, things get pretty, look pretty grim going into 2026, 27, and 28. That's because we then don't really put it in at the top. We don't put in any city or county funding. We don't assume we'll be getting more LBI, all those kind of things. So it looks pretty dire. And that's good. It couldn't be if we didn't get those funding. If we didn't get that funding. And so again, it shows you our cash at the very bottom too. But that's kind of the doomsday scenario. Hopefully the city, county, state will continue to support.
It's always good not to take legislative guidance and put for granted.
Yes, exactly.
Very good.
So we do recommend that amendment of adding 250,000 of income here in this single green box, and then that changes our deficit to, like we said, 215,000 instead of 165.
So any questions? Okay, I'll ask for a motion for 2025, 2028 budget with the amendment.
So,
John, second, Michael, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, D, net sales contract.
On page 9 of your packet, you'll see that back in April, you guys authorized us to contract with them to sell them these 5 parcels, 2 on Lincoln and 3 on Holland, for $5,000 each. They are applying for home funds from the city to build new single-family homes on these lots. They have decided to pivot towards doing them all on Holland, which we think is a great thing. So we'd like to modify the contract to eliminate those 2 on Lincoln and add in 2 additional addresses on Holland. Now, this would go to the site control that they need to apply for home funding. We think that these might be part of the overall 40 homes that we want to do with them using AHOP funds. If that's the case, we would actually retain title to them and own them during the construction. But that's all really not certain yet, so they need this contract for site control for their home application. And this just keeps moving forward.
Any questions? Okay,
Do we
motion.
have to make that decision in this when we want to?
We're gonna be making that decision together anyway, so I feel like it's fine. Even though it really is, they will have constraint to close on these if they want, but they can't close unless they have all of the financing necessary for the project, so.
That's good.
Sorry, thank you for that out loud.
Thanks, Sharon. Okay. If there's no other questions, motion to amend sales contract, would you please? Second. Second. Jen, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, discussion, LBI open round. Funding.
This is just the good news that we did receive the $2 million that we applied for last week.
Good job.
And
you said last week.
we received it last week, we applied a while ago. They make those decisions pretty quickly.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was curious.
Okay, we got it?
Yeah.
Any idea how the other land banks have done
I don't know if any of them have even applied yet for the open round.
I don't think anybody
And
has.
actually, someone asked, like, how did we even know? And I think Ben was like, how did you even know there was an open round?
Do they not read their emails?
I think that's possible. But I think if you're not near that point, you know, if you're not ready for it yet, you're probably not really. So, yeah, I'm like, well, it's real, I promise you. Should look at it.
it? Further proof that Syracuse leads the way across the state.
Right.
I wonder if Mr. Alexis so much.
Yeah. It says on here.
And then I wanted to update you on the foreclosures that have been happening under the new foreclosure law. We have received 2 or 3 big batches so far, and we're getting about 20 a month. They are optimistic that they will get to a point where they're actually doing 2 closings a month, which would be great. That materializes, but this is keeping us busy. We have a handful of occupied properties again, so we are again making referrals to county charities for relocation assistance where that's needed. We haven't come across any yet where it seems like it's a logical thing to do the tenant to homeowner program and sell them to the occupants. We have a few where the occupants are the former owners, and they just owed so much, there was really no hope of saving the house. One has already found someplace to move and is going to be moving in there November 1st. Another one, we are unfortunately starting an eviction proceeding on. She has not responded to any of our postcards or notices. We haven't been able to make contact with her. Hopefully receiving that notice to vacate will prompt her to call us and schedule an intake inspection, and then we'll kind of go back to square one with the normal process.
Is this the one that you were only able to do the appraisal from the outside?
Yes, we have not been able to get the appraiser inside. We did get the appraisal back. It's significantly lower than what she owed the city, so that's gonna be the first one where they filed a claim, we've done the appraisal, and now we'll send them a letter saying there is no surplus proceeds, so there's no need for a hearing. We'll attach to that letter the city's statement showing how much they owed, the appraisal, so we're basically showing our math. And maybe even the statute, I'm not sure, showing that, we're acting as the city's agent, implementing this local law. So we're pulling that together. And we have another one coming soon where I think there will probably also be no surplus. They filed a claim, but half the foundation has collapsed, and it's literally demolition unit, so. We'll see how it goes. Any others?
How's it been going as far as getting the appraisals done close to the time when they come?
Well, Pat O'Connor is our appraiser that we've been using. He's very responsive. He was out there the week we got that one on Hayden doing the exterior only appraisal. We would have gotten in there sooner had we been able to communicate with the occupant. I think on the vacant ones, we will have no problem getting them.
Thank you.
Yeah, they'll be 2 o'clock. Thursday, 2 o'clock. Some of the counselors are still struggling to understand the process. Even though our MDD people, they're probably coming so we get a ton of information about outreach, a lot of outreach.
So the notice for that committee meeting said that it was about the foreclosure process. Do you have a sense, Ramon, of what questions the council wants answered?
Yeah, so our plan is to walk through the entire foreclosure process, all of the notices. I think they want to know a little bit more about outreach, as council members mentioned. I think, but also the land bank's role, so what properties are occupied, what is the process? It'd be good to know a little bit about the kinds of charities, contract that you will have. So I think all the basic things that we explained before, just use it as a time to refresh us.
Okay.
And also give a status update on where we are with the basics.
Okay.
We have quite a bit of information that council has. Come on, it's a whole list of things. Outreach, letters and everything else, so.
Well, and I think it's probably a good opportunity to remind the council that the city of Syracuse does really effective foreclosure prevention outreach to owner occupants more than any other municipality that we've seen working with land banks throughout New York State. So they've got great resources. The Financial Empowerment Center has been a huge help to help people avoid foreclosure. And the cases that are coming to us are generally ones that are just really hopeless.
Right. I wanted to mention, you can get through the paywall of the New York Times yesterday. It was a very good article about the Duke of Detroit, how the whole lynch revitalization of Detroit revolved around seizing properties, demolishing delinquent properties and everything else. So doing the meat and potatoes things that the government does. So I encourage anybody who's interested in this stuff to read it.
Many of us went to St. Louis last week for the Reclaiming Vacant Properties Conference put on by Center for Community Progress. Center for Community Progress has been a huge advocate for land banking and technical assistance and training to local governments and land banks all over the country. It's always a very good conference, and there was a fantastic session on receivership. So I've had a good conversation with Mike Collins about whether that's something we might want to pursue here in Syracuse. We can use tax seizure to go after all the tax delinquent vacant buildings, but there are still many vacant buildings that are tax current, which it's just the befuddling, the condition of these buildings. But that is another strategy that we can use to try to get control of those properties. They had examples from other communities where they were mostly using it as a way to get control of these properties, to renovate them and bring them up to code. And then if the owner could pay off that lien, or it forces it to auction, you can try to sell it to a more responsible local owner. Or if you put so much into it that nobody would bid that much at auction, you can bid your credit bid, it could be a way for the owner to get titles in those properties if you were acting as the receiver. But Mike and I were doing brainstorming, you could use it for demolitions. And right now, if there's a tax current building that needs to be demolished, the city has been taking it to court to get a court order for the demo. If we could go to court and instead get a receivership assigned, we could use our grant funds to do the demolition. That amount of money then becomes a lien against the property, forced to auction. Nobody's gonna pay $30,000 for a vacant lot. And so we could bid our credit bid and get title much faster that way. The way they've been doing it with the court order, that becomes a tax lien on the property. It takes 2.5 years to become seizable, and then a year to foreclose on it, and then maybe we get title 4 years down the road. I think this way we can get title a lot faster and have those available as new construction sites.
Actually, Detroit, I think they had to go to the Michigan legislature, but they tried to have vacant property tax to sort of spur things like that. And I think they got jammed up there, but that's something we should look into. In fact, we did talk about it in our last budget deliberations. We talked about vacant property taxes, sort of spur people to do something productive with this vacant property, or just holding on to.
John and Syracuse also gave a
Yes.
presentation about the new foreclosure process. Around the country, I'm really interested to hear how we're reacting to that.
So both of you together, you guys did a Huntley and Brinkley type thing, or what?
Yeah.
We did, point counterpoint, you're right. We gave the Syracuse perspective.
Good.
It was kind of neat, because Hennepin County, for those of you familiar with Tyler versus Hennepin County,
Yeah.
was a Supreme Court case. So Hennepin County was there presenting what they're doing, their reaction, which is very different from what we're doing. And then Massachusetts was there presenting their approach, which was kind of in the middle, and then there was Syracuse. So we're not alone, I wouldn't say, but we're doing what you all, the land bank and the city wanted us to do, which was to keep things as close to the way we were doing things, to be sure the land bank was the default recipient, while also calculating and returning surplus. So we just present that to everybody.
Mo, do you think maybe a couple of your colleagues over there in the county legislature would benefit from maybe 2 or 3 of them coming over and talking to Kate and meeting with a few of us about land banks? Since sometimes their comments are a little, let's say,
Uninformed.
I'm glad you work with them. We're going to have to caution, I think. I'm going to have to mentor you once again. Yeah.
Trust me, that's the next place.
Okay, so,
I think that would be that.
yeah, I think, yeah.
For people to speak.
Because obviously, some of you, Ken and some of the folks understand, but it doesn't seem like other ones. Yeah, that's sort of. Any other comments or anything else? So I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Sorry.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Adjourn.
Thank you guys. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take that from you and return it to you.